All right, this lesson is going to be about fill in the blanks in listening item type and write from dictation. Okay, write from dictation is similar to repeat sentence. You're gonna hear a sentence and then you will have to write it down or type it down in the taskbar. Okay, so let's get straight into it. The strategies that we're going to talk about are similar. Obviously, you have to pay attention and listen and then write it down or type it down. It's pretty straightforward, and let's get into it. I'll share my screen. So the agenda for today, first we are going to look at fill in the blanks, and then we are going to look at write from dictation. In fill in the blanks, we will introduce the fill in the blanks item type, and then we'll do a warm-up activity. We are going to follow a spoken text. Okay, so we're going to listen and follow, and this is exactly what you will have to do in your fill in the blanks activity. Fill in the blanks, we'll do a little bit of practice. Then we will look at homophones. Now, homophones are words that sound similar. The pronunciation is similar, but they have different spelling and they have different meaning. Then we will look at scoring, and then we will do extra practice. In terms of write from dictation, we are going to look at the introduction to what the write from dictation activity is. We will look at scoring, and then we will look at, we will do some practice as well. All right, so first of all, what is fill in the blanks? Now, fill in the blanks, in the start, you will see a text, a paragraph, and you will hear a recording. Now, you look at the transcription, and you will also listen to a recording, which will be same as the transcription. And you will have to fill in the gaps, okay? Now, before the recording starts, you will get about 7 seconds to look at the paragraph. You can look at, in this 7 seconds, what I would advise you is quickly glance where the blanks are and get ready where you should focus on. As you listen, write down words on erasable booklet. So you might have erasable booklet. You can write down those words, or you can type straight away in the taskbar if that's easier for you. Okay, so you will get a text like this. For example, let's look at this text. You've got, and you can, these are keywords that you can look at when you have these 7 seconds. So you'll see a text like this, and you will have 3 or 4 blanks that you will have to fill. Now, you will have to listen to the recording and fill in. It's pretty straightforward, no technical skills required here. Now, I want you to, so I'm going to read this paragraph, and you're going to listen to it as you're listening to the recording. I'm going to read this transcription, and I just want you to follow word by word whatever I'm reading. Okay, let's do this exercise. So warm-up exercise, let's do it. I have chosen the search of stability as the title of my lectures because I want to deal specifically with macroeconomics. The question of how we can keep the economy on a reasonable, stable growth path. While there are disagreements about many aspects of economics, such as those dealing with efficiency, income distribution, or the role of the market versus the role of the state, I think there is widespread agreement across the political spectrum that stability is a good thing. Economically, the first half of the 20th century was disfigured by the Great Depression of the 1930s and the second half by the high inflation of the 1970s. No one wants a repeat of these episodes, nor of some of the other disruptions that have marked the past 60 years. To some, the word stability sounds unexciting, and probably more so if I use the term economic stability. But stability is not just an economic concept, it has a profound impact on the lives of people. Instability can create havoc, damage institutions, and leave a legacy from which some families and nations will take many years to recover. For example, the rise of Nazism in Germany was helped by the preceding Weimar hyperinflation. Fortunately, in Australia, we have had nothing like that. But the effects of the Depression left scars that lasted for lifetimes. Likewise, the effects of the big rise in unemployment and inflation in the 1970s have not fully passed out of our economy. Okay, so I hope you had a chance to listen and follow along. And this is exactly what we need. And this is the skill that we need for fill in the gaps. You listen very, very carefully, word by word, and you write down the word when there is a blank. All right, now what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you the fill in the blanks item type, and after that we will do an activity which with the fill in the gaps, but I'm going to read this out for you and I'll give you some information and then you will do the fill in the blanks without listening anything, if you can to check your understanding, if you can remember everything. Now, fill in the blanks is an item type that tests your ability to listen for missing words in a recording and type the missing words into a transcription. It assesses both listening and writing skills. The image below shows the item type. Below are the features of fill in the blanks. In number 1, instructions are presented at the top of the computer screen. Number 2, in the audio status box, the status will count down for 7 seconds. Then a recording will play automatically. Number 3, a transcription of the recording will with up to 7 blanks, and you can get up to 7 blanks follows. To respond, type the missing word into the blanks. To change your response, select your original response and then retype it. You can also use the tab key on your keyboard to move the cursor between blanks. So if for example, you are on one blank and you want to go to another blank, you can either use your cursor or you could just press tab on your keyboard and it moves to the next blank. The recordings for this item type runs for approximately 30 to 60 seconds. Each recording will play only once. There are 2 to 3 fill in the blank items in the listening part of the PT academic, depending on the combination of items in a given test. They are presented together in a single block. Okay, so they're gonna be repetitive. So once you get 1, 2, and 3, it will be in the single block you're gonna get. Now let's talk about content. Does your response include all the missing words? So you marked on content. Does your response have you filled in all the missing words? Content is scored by counting the number of right words with correct spelling, and correct spelling is very important. That's why we're going to look at homophones. In your response, each correct word spelled correctly scores 1 point. If all blanks are filled with the correct word spelled correctly, you will receive the maximum score points for this item type. If 1 or more blanks are filled incorrectly, partial credit scoring applies. So for example, there were 7 blanks and you got 6 right and 1 wrong, you get 6 points. If 1 or more blanks are filled incorrectly, partial credit scoring applies. This item type affects the scoring of the following. Okay, so I've presented you this text. Now in the next screen, I'm going to show you the fill in the gaps. So look at this text one more time carefully, and then you will be filling the gaps. Okay, so in this screen, I want you to think whatever I told you in the last screen and fill in the gaps. Maybe guess if you can't remember, just guess the answer here. All right, I will let you do this. You can pause the video here. I will let you do this and then we will discuss the answers. All right, I hope you had a chance to look at this activity on your own. Now we're going to go back and look at the answers. All right. So the first one is fill in the blanks is an item type that tests your ability to listen for missing words in a recording and type the words into a, let's look at that, into a transcription, right? The correct answer here is transcription. It both listening and writing skills. It assesses both listening and writing skills. The features of fill in the blanks are as follows. Instructions are presented at the top of the computer screen. The instructions for this item type are always the same. You will hear a recording type the missing words in each blank. In the audio status box, the status will count down from 7 seconds. Then a recording will play. Automatically, right? A transcription of the recording with up to 7 blanks follows to. A transcription of the recording with up to 7 blanks follows to respond. To respond, type the missing words into the blanks. To change your response, select your original response, and then retype it. You can also use the tab key on your keyboard to move the cursor between the blanks. The recording for this item type run for approximately 30 to 60 seconds. Each recording will play only once. There are 2 to 3 fill in the blanks items in the listening part of PT Academic. They are presented together in a single block, all right? Now this is a big blank, and the correct answer here is content is scored by counting the number of content. Does your response include all the missing words? Then content is scored by counting the number of right words with correct spelling in your response. If all blanks are filled with the right word spelled correctly, you will receive the maximum score points for this item type. And what's next? If one or more blanks are filled incorrectly, partial credit scoring applies. This item type affects the scoring of the following. So I hope you had a chance to understand how we fill in the gaps. Obviously, the context kind of helps us as well. If we know the context, it's easier for us to do. All right, let's read this one. This is right from dictation. Again, we will apply the fill in the blanks on this one, but I'm introducing right from dictation here as well, and I'm going to be introducing that later on as well. So right from dictation is an item type that tests your ability to understand and remember a sentence you hear, and then write it exactly as you hear it using correct spelling. It assesses both listening and writing skills. The image below shows the item type. Below are the features of right from dictation. Instructions are presented at the top of the computer. In the audio status box, the status will count down from 7 seconds. Then a recording will play automatically. A response box follows. Use this space to type the sentence. You can select text within the response box with the mouse and use the cut, copy, and paste buttons to edit your response. The total word count keeps track of the number of words written and updates as you type. The recordings for this item type runs for approximately 3 to 5 seconds. Each recording will play only once. There are 3 to 4 right from dictation items in PT Academic, depending on the combination of items in a given test. They are presented together in a single block. Content, does your response include all, and this is about scoring. Content, does your response include all the words in the sentence and only these words? Content is scored by counting the number of correct words in your response. If all the words are right and spelled correctly, you receive the maximum score points for this item type. If one or more words are incorrect, partial scoring, credit scoring applies. This item type affects the scoring of the following. So let's look at the fill in the blanks. I want you to pause the video here, do this exercise on your own based on whatever we have shown you before, and then come back and then we can review together. All right, I hope you had a chance to look at this activity alone, and now we're going to look at it together. Write from dictation is an item type that tests your, we go back, test your ability, right? To understand and remember a sentence you hear and then write exactly as you hear it using correct spelling. It assesses both listening and writing skills. That the features of write from dictation are as follows. Instructions are presented, right? Instructions are presented at the top of the computer screen. The instructions for this item type are always the same. You will hear a sentence, type the sentence in the box below exactly as you hear it. Write as much of the sentence as you can. You will hear the sentence only once. In the audio status box, the status will count down from 7 seconds, then a recording will play automatically. A box follows. A response box follows. Use this space to type the sentence. You can select text within the response box with the mouse and use the cut, copy, and paste buttons to edit your response. The recording for this item type run for approximately 3 to 5 seconds. Each recording will play only once. There are 3 to 4 write from dictation items in PT Academic, depending on the combination of items, in a given test. Now, if you look at, this is a big blank. So before your score on write from dictation, it is, there are, combination, they are presented together in a single block. Your score on write from dictation is based on content. And this is a bigger blank as well. So content, does your response include all the words in the sentence and only these words? And then if all the words are correct and spelled correctly, you'll receive the maximum score points for this item type. If one or more words is incorrect, partial scoring applies. Okay, so you see that if you understand some of the context, if you have a background knowledge of something, then it's easier for you to fill in the gaps. But unfortunately, you will not have the background knowledge. You will only have 7 seconds. So quickly glance the text, understand kind of a theme of the text, and then get ready. Your cursor should be on the first word, and you should follow along. Following along the text is going to help you to fill in the gaps. And if you're good with typing, type it down straight away. Don't worry about the spelling while you're listening. You can fix the spelling later, or you can note it down on your erasable booklet, and then you can transfer the answers later on. Okay. All right, now we're going to look at homophones. So I'm going to read a text for you, and I want you to follow along. And we will look at the homophones in this exercise. All right, I'm going to read to you this text, and I want you to follow along the what I'm saying and what you see on here. So match with the transcription and fill in the gaps. All right, let's start. The effects of the financial crisis are still being felt around the world. It is difficult to predict how future studies will affect research findings. Many experts were initially skeptical and could not accept the key hypothesis. Most of Canada uses daylight saving time, except parts of Saskatchewan and British Columbia. Many voters lack the information needed to make a fair decision at the polling booth. There has been little enthusiasm for the public transport fare adjustments. It is unclear whether the government will successfully weather the current political storm. Dr. Johnson was formerly head of the Faculty of Medicine. The new dean was formally introduced at inauguration ceremony. Warhol's screen prints incorporated a bold use of complementary colors. In acknowledgement of their effort, the research team received complementary software packages. The principal aim of the study was to reveal inequalities in the system. It is a matter of principle that inequality be avoided at all times. All right, so you might have heard and you might have gotten the answers, but let me share with you some of the homophones that are here. And we will look at them in detail and what their meanings are and what their usage is. And if you don't know the meaning, then you will kind of struggle with which one to use. But one of them are basically, for example, here, and let's look at the answers. So you've got the answers here, the effects of the financial crisis, the effects, right? So that's one. The effects of financial crisis are still being felt around the world. It is difficult to predict how future studies will affect research findings. So you can see these are homophones, effects and affect, right? So effects is the noun, right? It's the result of the financial crisis, the consequences. That's what it means. Affect, on the other hand, is something that is causes, right? So it causes to, the effect will affect, it will cause to change or to change something. That's what it means. It's a verb. Affects is a noun. Affect is a verb, which means to change. Effects is as a result of a consequence, the effects, the consequences. Okay, so these are, I mean, they sound the same. Effect. Pronunciation is the same, but the meaning and spelling are different. Okay, let's do a write from dictation activity. So I'm going to read 3 sentences to you, and I want you to write it down here. All right, are you ready? Let's start. The reputation of the whole department is at stake. The project involved a number of discrete studies. It is important to be discreet when dealing with the press. Okay, let's look at the answers. The reputation of the whole department is at stake. The project involved a number of discrete studies. It is important to be discreet when dealing with the press. So you've got discreet and you've got discreet. So you've got discrete, you've got 2 homophones here as well, discrete and discrete. Okay. So let's look at the homophones, and these are words that the pronunciation is the same, but the meaning is different and the usage is obviously different, and the part of the speech could also be different. So you've got affect and got effect. We already talked about that. The meaning is effect is as a result of something. Effect is to change something, to cause to change, right? Effect. And accept means an exception to something, and accept means that you kind of accept something. So let's look at this word bang, and I want you to look at all the 13 sentences, and also this one right here, discrete and discrete, and I want you to do your own research. This is a research activity where I want you to write all the homophones that you saw in the previous screens in from 1 to 16. How many? You've got 16 sentences. Whatever homophones you find, write down the homophones, write down the meaning, research the meaning. Obviously, if you don't know the meaning, write down the meaning, and you write down a sentence using that word. Write down a sentence using that word so that you know how to use it. Okay, so this is a research activity. And whenever you see homophones, you should know, which one means which one. So looking at the context will help you to write down the correct spelling, because you would know which homophone or which word is appropriate here. All right, now let's look at activity number 1. Let's do a little bit of practice here for fill in the blanks. So I'm going to read this paragraph to you. Here at last was a base from which this largest ocean in the world could be further explored. Many questions were still unanswered. How large was the ocean, and how many undiscovered lands did it hold? Way out in the ocean, not far from Tahiti, did there lie a mysterious continent? Surely, if it existed, it would be inhabited, perhaps densely inhabited. All right, let's look at the answer. Here at last was a base from which the largest ocean in the world could be further explored. Many questions were still unanswered. How large was the ocean, and how many undiscovered lands did it hold? Way out in the ocean, not far from Tahiti, did there lie a mysterious continent? Surely, if it existed, it would be inhabited, perhaps densely inhabited. All right, next one. Let's get ready for the next one. I'm going to read out again this text to you, and I want you to fill in the gaps. This multi-million selling internet book is still the ultimate handbook for novices and experts alike. It's written in plain English. It covers everything from getting online for the first time to news feeds. This fully revised guide covers all the latest sites and crazes. Whether you have never sent an email or you just want to keep up with the latest development, this is the book for you. All right, I hope you got all the blanks correct. Let's just look at the correct answer here. The multi-million selling internet book is still the ultimate handbook for novices and experts alike. It's written in plain English. It covers everything from getting online for the first time to news feeds. This fully revised guide covers all the latest sites and crazes. Whether you have never sent an email or just want to keep up with the latest developments, this is the book for you. All right. Now let's look at 3 write from dictation sentences. I'm going to read the sentences and I want you to write. You will hear the sentence only once. Okay, let's do it. Number 1. 4 of the students failed to complete their assignments. Number 2. Much of the evidence contradicted the statement given by the witness. Number 3. Before submitting your report, check that the bibliography is complete. All right, let's look at the answers. 4 of the students failed to complete their assignments. Number 2, much of the evidence contradicted the statement given by the witness. Number 3, before submitting your report, check that the bibliography is complete. All right, let's do 3 more, shall we? Let's do 3 more. I'm going to read 3 more sentences to you, and I want you to write it down, okay? It was evident that the study lacked a key hypothesis. Number 2, the new arrangements caused some controversy among faculty members. Number 3, you can improve your report by including data from research findings. Okay, so let's look at the answers. It was evident that the study lacked a key hypothesis. The new arrangements caused some controversy among faculty members. Number 3, you can improve your report by including data from research findings. Okay, now let's talk about scoring. it is judging your ability to listen for missing words in the recording. Pretty straightforward. It's not checking any technical knowledge. It's just checking your attention level, okay? The content, it scores your content on all the missing words should be correct, should have the correct spelling. Every word has 1 point. So if there are 7 blanks, you're gonna get 1 point for each blank. If you miss out one, you will lose 1 point, okay? It affects only listening score. Affects only listening score. Now let's do fill in the blanks extra practice. I'm going to play this audio and I want you to read the script for 7 seconds. Take your time. I hope you got a chance to look at the text very quickly, skim the text very quickly, and now I'm going to play it.
One seminal difference in policy remains. The coalition has not matched what is Labour's most important innovation promise. That is to bring together responsibilities for innovation, industry, science and research under one single federal minister. Innovation responsibilities currently lie within the powerful Department of Education and Science. And while there is a separate industry department, it has little influence within Cabinet. This has hampered policy development and given Australia's innovation policies a distinctly science and research bias. It is the scientists, rather than the engineers, who call the tune in innovation policy in Canberra. So it's no surprise our policies are all about boosting government-funded research and later commercializing their results.
Okay, so again, you will listen to the recording only once. I hope you got the answers. I will let you transfer your answers if you've got them on the booklet and check your spelling, and then we will look at the answers. All right, let's look at the answers. So it says the first answer is coalition, second one currently, third separate, fourth hampered, 5 bias, fifth, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 6 is boosting, and number 7 is commercializing. Okay, I hope you got the answers correctly. Let's look at exercise number 2. Are you ready? Let's go.
We've decided to adopt just as...
So I'm going to let you read it for 7 seconds. Just quickly read, glance the important words, and then we will play it. Okay, let's go.
We've decided to adopt just as a loose theme for the course, a biological theme, so that you can see the connections between chemistry and biology and the things that you might consider doing in the future. We want you to think about the molecules that are relevant to your body, the processes that occur in your body, the chemistry that's going on, and how energy plays a role. And we divided the course into 4 sections, and after each section, there will be a midterm. The first one, or an exam, the first one is about matter.
Right. So pretty straightforward. I hope you got the answers correctly. I will give you a few seconds to look at your spelling and everything, and then we will look at the answers. All right, let's look at the answers. So biological, that's the first one. Second one, connections, 3 molecules, 4 energy, and 5 matter. Okay, so we've got 5 blanks. Sometimes you get 5, sometimes you get 7, sometimes you get 4, depending on the combination that you get. And I hope you got all the answers correct. All right, now we're going to do write from dictation. So I'll give you an intro on write from dictation. Pretty straightforward. It's similar to repeat sentence. You hear a sentence and then you type it out, the sentence. So here, type as many correct words as you can remember into the response box in the correct order. Use grammar knowledge to order the words. So obviously you should be able to tell by your grammar knowledge if the sentence is organized correctly, sequenced correctly, right? So a card carries a single object, right? So you listen, I hear carries, but where does it go? So if you hear carry, and where does it go here? Card carries, right? So it should be after the noun. Noun does the verb, and then you've got the object. So you should know the simple structure of the sentence here to be able to help you to organize your words if you can't remember the actual sequence. Type it where it fits grammatically into the sentence. It's a verb, so it will probably go after the subject card, right? So this is how you use your grammatical knowledge. If you can't remember, you should be able to remember and do at least 100 of read aloud and write from dictation practice. And if you can do 100 of these write from dictation and read aloud, repeat sentence, then you will be in a good position to be able to do very, very good. Okay. All right, let's look at the scoring. Now, in terms of scoring, write from dictation, it is judging your ability to understand and remember a sentence you hear. Understand and then remember. And we talked a lot about, if you want to go back to watch my repeat sentence lecture, we talked a lot about, understanding is super important, and catching everything in phrases as well. It kind of helps you to remember the sentence. Okay. Content, obviously, if you include all the words in the correct order and spelling, you will get full marks. If you don't have all the words in the correct sequence, you will get partial scoring, and it affects your listening and writing scores. It not only listening scores, but it also gives you marks for writing. So be careful there if you want to improve your writing skills. Sorry, writing scores. All right, let's do it practice. I'm going to play the recording, and then you will type it down, or you can type it down, or you can write it down somewhere, and then we will review the answer.
You must submit your assignments by next Friday at the latest.
Okay, let's look at the answer. I hope you got it right. You must submit your assignments by next Friday at the latest. Okay, let's do another one. This time I'm going to read out the transcription for you, and I want you to type it down or write it down on your booklet if you like. Are you ready? Let's go. The time of the maths lecture has been changed to 10:30. Yeah, okay, let's look at the answer. The time of the maths lecture has changed to 10:30, 10:30, or 10:30. Okay, any of these will be applicable and you will get full score. Let's do another one. Right, let's do another one. This time again, I will read out the text to you, and then you write it down in your booklet. Are you ready? Let's go. Final year business students have to write a 5,000 word essay on market trends. All right, I hope you got the answer right. Final year business students have to write a 5,000 word essay on market trends. Now, as you saw, fill in the blanks and write from dictation is not very hard. It's quite easy. There are no technical things that I'm discussing here. Most of the time we spend our time practicing, and that's exactly what you want to do. There are no very technical skills that you need to know, but do a lot of practice. Do at least 50 write from dictation practice before you go into the actual exam, and also fill in the blanks. Do a lot of practice. All it's testing is your ability to listen to a recording and read the transcription and write down the correct answer and spot the correct answer, and type in the correct answer. It's kind of testing your homophone skill as well, which we talked about. That was the only part that is technical, and the research that you're going to do, if you are not comfortable with homophones and the words that have the same pronunciation, but if you're not comfortable with the context and understanding of those words, please do this exercise, that research exercise. That's going to definitely help you. But it's a straightforward activity. It's not easy compared to the stuff that we have done so far. This one, I will say, it's just the matter of practice. Do a lot of practice. Here in this lesson, we did a lot of practice, and that is the key. So I'll see you in the next one, and thanks for listening, and I wish you all the best.